How do we actually create an inclusive movement whereby we have conversations with communities to deal with some of the areas that we've spoken about on the program? And I'll start off just very briefly because I've got 5 minutes. I want all of you to contribute to this aspect of the Advocate Sibanda. How do we create that all-inclusive conversations that include the communities and those who practice these cultures themselves?
Communities, we have to be clear, whether we like it or not, within every African setting, the traditional leadership structures are there. To merely have protocols and legislation and you don't involve that particular constituency is what will always create that disconnect. So when we talk to communities, let's not leave out the traditional leadership structures because they are a vital component of how society advances these issues, especially from a cultural perspective and cultural understanding.
And you, Nonhlanhla Sibanda, how do we create an all-inclusive environment for this particular issue?
I think what is very critical is to ensure that girls are at the very core of whatever interventions we seek to intervene with. Girls need to be at the core of our programming if we are to deal with the issue of child marriages. We need to be able to provide girl-only spaces where we offer them economic support, we offer them incentives, we give them options in life because, as has been highlighted, poverty is one of the major drivers of child marriage.
Now, Xolile, your final sentiments on this particular conversation. What would you say as a wrap-up? How do we create not just a bottom-down approach and creating protocols as highlighted by Advocate Sibanda, but we create an environment whereby everyone is involved, especially having conversations with the girls as well, I think would be also a good place to start.
It's about us working in a very holistic manner, where you find that even how we raise our girl children at home, the socialization of girl children at home, where we are debunking some of the cultural norms and some of the gender stereotypes that we bring up our girls with, that would be number one. So opening up spaces for girl children to speak. Also at the community level, we need to include schools, churches, your traditional leaders and the criminal justice system, whereby we come up with a community dialogue where we talk about protection of our children. Because at the end of the day, if we were to really protect our children at the community level, where we acknowledge our society norms, we acknowledge our cultural norms, but we then say, are they protecting our children? So we look at it with the protective eye. So for me, would be where we need to really spend most of our time. And I'm reminded of situations where in communities, when the girl child is abducted, it will be the very same traditional leaders who are saying, this person has contravened the law, therefore we can no longer address this issue under the cultural banner. We want this person to be dealt with the police. So there's already that dialogue at a community level. It's just that we don't highlight and embrace it most of the time, where culture and the criminal justice system starts talking to each other with the protection of the girl child involved. So for me, that is key. The protection is changing the norms and values and making sure that our gender stereotyping moves away from seeing girl children as brides only. They can be something beyond just becoming the bride.
Well, thank you so much for that particular aspect and your views there. Thank you to Xolile Ngobo, who is the Gender and Women's Rights Advisor at Oxfam. Thank you as well to Nonhlanhla Sibanda, the Gender Manager of the Center of the Study of Violence and Reconciliation. Thanks once again to Advocate Sabelo Sibanda for joining us here. He's a regular here on African Dialogue. He's the founder at the School of African Awareness and Ama Africa Akoto. Thank you all for being part of this dialogue today on our program. Fantastic. Now that's how we wrap it up. What are your thoughts? question is, are child marriages still relevant? Are they still part of Africa's contemporary societies? Let us know what you think of this particular conversation. +27 79 695 7930 is our SMS number. +27 79 695 7930. Remember that you can also find us on Twitter at Channel Africa 1, at Channel Africa 1. That's the number 1 at the end, is the numeric 1. Or you can find us at African Dialogue. Don't forget our website is www.channelafrica.org. If you just joined the program, you can find our podcast there. You just go to the multimedia section and you can be part of this conversation by listening to some of the views that came up in this particular program. Are child marriages still irrelevant of Africa's contemporary society? +27 79 695 7930. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back and then we'll get our economics update.